This is the Oxford Online English Test, and what's different about this vocab test compared to my other ones is that it includes phrases as well as just individual words. So you can really test along with me how your English is doing currently and hopefully learn a few things too. I haven't seen these questions before, so we're going to discover them together. And as it says, it covers all levels from elementary English A1 to advanced C1 English. Starting with question 1. Excuse me, I think you've a mistake in our bill. Given a mistake, done a mistake, made a mistake, had a mistake. It would be made a mistake. That's the idiom in English. Next, she's a police officer, so she has to wear a something at work. Police suit, dress, uniform, clothes. It would be a uniform, we would say. A police uniform. Let's go to a restaurant for dinner tonight. Let's something tonight. Eat away, eat outwardly, eat outside, eat out tonight. In English, we would say, let's eat out tonight. Interestingly, if you're just going to the restaurant to pick up the food, we would call that a takeaway meal. So close to eat away. But the phrase for when you go to a restaurant to pick up a meal and then you eat at home is that's a takeaway. But if you're going to eat in the restaurant, you would say, let's eat out tonight. You can't smoke here. Please something your cigarette. Put out, put away, put down, put up with. It would be put out your cigarette. Please put out that cigarette, just like you would put out a fire. To put something away means like putting it in your pocket or in your bag. To put something down just means placing it on the table, for example. And to put up with is to tolerate and just accept something's going to happen. Imagine, we get imaginative. Rely, to rely on something, makes them reliable. Ambition would go with, you might know this one, to be ambitious. That's the correct word. Those other words are made up. We nearly missed the plane. We were only just on time, in time for, timely. Interesting. We were only just, what would I say here? On time, you could be on time for a meeting. We were only just on time. We were only just in time. It would actually be in time. You could say something like, we were in time for the performance. This is definitely a harder one because the other phrases are definitely used in English. For example, being on time for your lesson, or they arrived in time for the performance, or her remarks were timely and appropriate. But here it would be, we were only just in time. The difference, by the way, with on time is that on time is when something was meant to happen. If you're punctual and at the designated time, you would say we are on time and it's great. In time means just before the thing was about to occur. Whether that was late or early, whatever the time was, you arrived just in the moment before you needed to arrive. So you were just in time. That was a hard one. I go swimming, I play swimming, I play again, I do swimming every Saturday morning. It would be I go swimming. Not quite sure why, it's go rather than do, but there we are. Can think about that one. I love all fruit, but specifically strawberries, especially, mostly. It would be especially. Many people confuse this with specially down below, but they're different words actually. These are words that are commonly confused and often mispronounced in English, but the correct one here is especially with an E at the front. But especially strawberries. Notice how I pronounce it. It's almost like an A. Especially strawberries. Every time I wear something white, I something coffee or orange juice or something on it. I pour coffee, I let coffee, I drop coffee, spill coffee. It would be spill. Spill shows that it was accidental. If you say pour, it's still correct in a way, but it makes it sound like you were doing it on purpose. You were pouring out the liquid. And who would do that? Who would pour coffee on something they were wearing? But spill means accidental. Drop also makes sense, but we use the word spill because it's a liquid. Are you planning to go something for the weekend? Go far, go off, go away, go out for the weekend. A challenging one, it depends on the context, but I would say it's most commonly go away for the weekend, meaning are you planning a vacation, a holiday, a trip for the whole weekend? The problem with a word like to go out for the weekend, when you say you're going to go out, that's usually for an evening or for a few hours. To go out for the weekend implies like you're just leaving your house in the same clothes and staying out all weekend and not even sleeping. Not many people do that. Some people, to be honest, in England might say, are you planning to go off for the weekend? Meaning like off on holiday. But much more common would be, are you going to go away for the holiday? You could even say, are you planning to go far for the weekend? But it wouldn't be clear what you mean. Like far away or whatever. So away would be the most common here. The weather was great. It was really sunny, strong sun, sunshine. Quite an easy one. It was really sunny. I don't like my job very much. I am going to something and look for another one. Fire, retire, resign, finish. It's resign. Some of you might have picked retire. The problem is if you retire, you're going to stay at home, really, or you're not going to get another paid job, at least. But the sentence said, and look for another one. So you're not going to retire like some people do at 50, 60, 70 or whatever. You're looking for another job, so resign from this current job. To be fired means that they're going to get rid of you, which is different to resigning. She doesn't have brothers or sisters. She's a lonely child, an only child, a single child, and a lone child. The phrase is an only child, when you don't have any brothers or sisters. It's a good idea, but it's something that the boss will agree with you. Likely, unlikely, improbably, unprobably. Well, improbably and unprobably don't even exist as words, so it's unlikely the boss will agree with you. How do I know it's not likely? Because of the word but indicating a contrast. It's a good idea, but something negative. It's unlikely the boss will agree with you. Okay, next one. At the weekend, I something with some friends. We went for a curry, then had a couple of drinks. I enjoyed with some friends? No. I went out with some friends? Yes. I went for fun with some friends? No one would say that. I played with some friends. Played would be more like if you're doing a sport, but it says they went for a curry and had drinks, so it's more I went out with some friends. Tired, an extreme version would be exhausted. Small, an extreme version would be tiny. Angry, an extreme version would be furious. All the other words indicate mild anger, to be annoyed, frustrated, vexed, irritated. But furious is extreme anger, just like exhausted is being extremely tired. What size do you need? Small, medium, or large? Very common phrase there. He's so something. I'm not something in anything he says. He's so boring. I'm not interested in anything he says. That would be the correct thing there, because you're saying he's boring, not that he's bored. You find what he says boring, not that he himself is bored. I've been so busy all week, I don't want to do anything at the weekend. I'll just stay at home and take it easy is the idiom. Take it easy means relax, not do any hard work. You wouldn't say have a relax. You wouldn't say make it easy. You wouldn't say make a rest. All of those would be dodgy ways of saying it, and no one would understand what you mean. Happy is the opposite of sad. Happy is the opposite of sad. Oppositive, I don't even think that's a word. Opposed means like an enemy, which isn't really appropriate, nor is oppose, so opposite. If I were you, I'd leave earlier so you can avoid the traffic time, peak hour, rush hour, peak time. This is an idiom in English, and it's the rush hour. Rush hour is when the traffic is worst. usually between about 7 a.m. and 10 a.m. in the morning, and maybe between 4:30 and 7 p.m. in the evening, rush hour. Fruit and vegetables are healthy equals fruit and vegetables are healthsome, benefit for you, good for health, good for you. Here the idiom is good for you. If something is good for you, it's healthy. To be honest, you could say fruit and vegetables are good for health. And you could even maybe say some of the other phrases. Actually, not really. But good for you is just the idiom that we use. It's just a shorter way of saying they're good for your health. They're good for your body. He's a waiter. She's a waitress, waitry, waiter, waitress, I believe. What time do you use something every day? What time do you workplace, work, office, job? Fairly easy one. What time do you go to work every day? They never argue and they enjoy spending time together. They like themselves very much. They relationship very good. No. They relate very well. They get on very well. It would be get on very well. Just like the previous example, you could say they relate very well, but that wouldn't be the idiom. That wouldn't be the common phrase that we would understand in English. The common phrase would be they get on very well. To get on with someone is to be friendly towards them and enjoy their company. What time is it? It's 6:15. A something past 6 would be a quarter. Why a quarter? Because 15 minutes is a quarter of 60 minutes, which is an hour. So 6:15 is a quarter past 6. Just like 6:45 is a quarter to 7. It's 15 minutes before 7. 6:15 is a quarter past 6. Breakfast, lunch and dinner are food. Well, not really, kind of. Are eatings, that doesn't exist. Are meals, yes. Food times, they're meals. Our teacher doesn't something us use mobile phones in class. Doesn't forbid us use. That wouldn't make sense. Doesn't make us use. Why would a teacher want to make you to use one? Doesn't let us use. Now, you might say, why not be? Even though that does make sense grammatically, our teacher doesn't make us use. That sounds like the teacher would normally want you to use your mobile phone. And this person is surprised and says, wow, they don't make us. But why would a teacher want you to use your mobile phone in class? It makes much more logical sense to say, our teacher doesn't let us use. So the kids want to use the mobile phones, but the teacher doesn't let them use. If it was allow, you could still say that, but you'd need some additional words. For example, you'd say, our teacher doesn't allow us to use. But the fact there's no to there tells me that it would be our teacher doesn't let us use. Same with forbid, by the way. Our teacher doesn't forbid us to use mobile phones. So the absence of that word to helped me to get this one right. An apartment is another word for a flat. In England, we say flat. In America, apartment. Elevator, they say in America. In England, we say lift. Gasoline, they say in America. We say petrol. Your father's brother's daughter. Your father's brother. So your father's brother would be your uncle. And his daughter would be your niece. Cousina isn't even a word. Not in English anyway. Do you want a something or a return? So it would be a single. Sometimes that's now changed to being a one way, if you're just going in one direction and not coming back. But normally we'd say in England a single ticket, just going one way. A return, of course, is a ticket bought to go there and back. I don't something going out tonight. I don't have mood to, I don't like, I don't want to, I don't feel like. You might be tempted to say want to, I don't want to, but it would be go out tonight if it was want to. I don't want to go out tonight. With feel like, it makes sense in this context. I don't feel like going out tonight. Her hair isn't completely straight. It's slightly, what's the opposite of straight here? Wavy. Wavy for hair. If we were talking about a pencil, we might say it gets a little bit bent. But hair, which kind of comes in waves, we would say would be wavy, or curly. Do you live in a house or an apartment, a village, a home, a building? Well, we talked about how in England we'd say a flat, but in America you'd say an apartment. Obviously, English people would still understand if you say an apartment. You might ask what the difference is. An apartment is usually when there is a multi-story building and you just live on one of the levels in a fairly small accommodation without maybe an upstairs. You could have an upstairs, but the building has multiple stories, whereas a house would be if it's just a detached or semi-detached building where there's no one above you or below you. That would be more likely described as a house. Arg, this noise is giving me a head ouch, head pain, head hurt, headache. Headache, I think most of you would know that. It's the something building in the city. Greatest, fattest, highest, tallest. Well, some of these kind of could make sense. If you were really praising the building, you'd say greatest, that would be strange. It would be the tallest building, like a skyscraper. I know highest seems like it would make sense, but we would say tallest for a building. I'm a bit lost. Can you tell me how to something to the university? Reach, get, go, find. It would be here get to the university. Can you tell me how to get to the university? How did I know that? Because of the word to that came after. You could say, can you tell me how to reach the university? But notice there's no to. Or can you tell me how to find the university? But again, no to. Because of the to, I know it's going to be get to the university. Why is it not, can you tell me how to go to the university? The difference is in what your goal is. Your goal is to actually get there, reach the place. And that's why you're asking them how to get there, to actually reach and accomplish your goal. Asking how to go suggests you don't know how to move or you don't know how to walk. Everyone knows how to move or drive or walk or get the bus. That's not the problem. The problem is how do we use that with directions to actually get to the university, which is why it's get. I would say, of course, that if you said out loud, can you tell me how to go to the university? People would totally understand you, but it just wouldn't be quite perfect English. Friendly, the opposite is unfriendly. Honest, the opposite is dishonest. Polite, the opposite is, do you know this one? Impolite. Obviously, any of those technically kind of would make sense. You might have guessed dis or un or in, because they're often common prefixes. But in English it's impolite and the others wouldn't be used. He studies maths at university. He's a studier, professor, pupil, student. We call the people at university students. Pupils would be younger. People may be in secondary school or primary school. Professor would be the person hired to do the teaching. And studier, you would never say that really. I've got all the data. Now I just need to something the answer. Make out, count out, think out, work out. Interesting one. The idiom here would be work out. Kind of means like calculate, use the information to figure out the answer. That would be another phrase you could use. Figure out or work out the answer. In some circumstances, you could say count out if you were literally just counting up numbers to reach a total. But the general idiom would be work out, not think out or make out. I hope this vocab test that focused quite heavily on phrases was interesting and different from my other videos. Let me know if you found it useful and I can do more.